Hello and welcome to the MAC weather page for this Monday, April 25th. And you can see temperatures pretty uniform out there this morning, mainly in the mid 40s to around 50. And we expect with lots of cloud cover and eventually increasing chances for showers and thunderstorms later today. We'll see temperatures warm up quite a bit. We're going to be on the warm sector of this storm, at least initially. And then the rest of the week, I think we're cooler. The next two systems will be on the northern side of the storms. So we'll have more in the way of a steadier rain. And again, temperatures probably about at least 10 degrees cooler than what we may be today into early tomorrow morning. I think many areas today will get well into the 70s and into the 60s up north. If we take a look at the Great Lakes, you can see mainly low 50s across far southern southwest lower Michigan, 40s to the north and 30s up into the UP and northern lower Michigan. And again, this is going to be this pattern. You can see right now with temperatures in 30s, 40s, a lot of that because there is some rain on going up there right now. If we take a look at our normal highs, today normal high is 62, the normal low is 38. And if we look at the growing degree days accumulated so far this year by location and rank, you can see, again, we're slowly getting going here. We should see these numbers really increase here in about 2 weeks. But until then, looks like a pretty slow go with a overall trophy period coming up, and we'll show you why towards the end of the forecast. If we look at the U.S. drought conditions, you can see great shape across the Great Lakes, actually a little bit too wet. Again, only about, I believe, 3% of the area that grows corn was in any kind of a drought condition, so pretty good shape. I think last year the highest we ever had at any one time was 7%. This year, I think we'll certainly probably fare a little bit worse than that. We should see more drought conditions begin to show up in some of the corn belt areas, especially in the northern corn belt areas into the Great Lakes as well. If we look at the next slide, you can see the soil conditions at Breckenridge and with the other locations. We're dried out quite a bit at the subsoil here in Breckenridge, the top layer anyway, and then again, like all locations, it's very moist out there, and temperatures mainly in the mid 40s to around 50. We go to Brown City, you can see the same thing, mainly mid 40s, starting to dry out there, and it's a pretty heavy ground that where that soil station is at right there. And Marlette, much the same thing. You can see temperatures mainly in the mid 40s. Again, we'll have the two soil stations put in, or sensors, moisture sensors put in probably today, but it'll take a couple of weeks for them to acclimate against to the soil conditions there, and they'll show very wet as these are pre-soaked. If we look at the next slide, you can see the radar out there this morning. Much of the cool temperatures and rain off to the north, we're getting into the warm sector, and that should allow some pretty good instability to build up later on today. So we could see some strong thunderstorms, maybe wind gusts to 50 miles an hour or more, and potentially around 3/4 inch hail in some areas, especially this afternoon into tonight. If we look at the weather map for this morning, you can see low pressure off to our west. That's going to track across mid-Michigan. Again, we'll be in the warm sector as that front lifts to the north. And then the next several systems will see this whole activity slide to the south, so that by tomorrow morning, you can see that stationary front now going to set up across southern lower Michigan or the northern Ohio Valley. We'll see waves of low pressure move along that front, bringing us periods of rain. The next one looks like it'll be especially for later Wednesday into Thursday, and then over the weekend, late in the weekend, we could see another pretty wet system. And you can see by Wednesday, our next weather maker now coming out of the plains, and that'll head along this front, which should begin to lift a little bit to the north, and that'll bring more in the way of steady rain, maybe a thunder shower, but mainly a rain event here as we get into late Thursday into Friday, or late Wednesday into Thursday rather. As far as the rainfall over the next 7 days, you can see a lot of precipitation across the areas from the Gulf all the way to the Great Lakes and from the plains to the mid-Atlantic states. Again, this is a really wet and cool pattern we're into, and that, again, we expect that to continue over the next week to 10 days, and then we may see some changes once we get out towards week 2, which would put us around the 6th to the 10th of May. I think we'll see temperatures begin to really warm up quite a bit. But until then, quite cool and damp. And here's the big problem, the 500 millibar map. We got an upper ridge that continues to dominate to our north, and that allows troughing underneath. And until that system breaks down or we see that ridging begin to settle down into the U.S. around the Great Lakes, until then, it's going to be a pretty cool, damp pattern as these waves will continue to ride underneath that big ridge off to the north. Thanks for stopping by and have a great day, a great weekend, and 73s to all.